Welcome back to another episode of Operation Evil. I am your host, Nyoka,
I'm Rachel.
and today's episode is brought to you by Rachel, yours truly. And I think we're
Oh,
on episode 75, I think.
that sounds right. And I honestly don't have a name for this episode. So we're just going to call it AnnMarie Peters Cusano. Cusano. Cusano.
Easy to say.
Cusano.
Cusano.
I'm not making fun of her name. I'm just making fun of the fact that we can't talk, okay?
Yeah, we have issues. Always.
Like I can't even say a real word like heel. Heel. Like Heel. Heel. What the fuck are you saying?
Dude, I get it. I have so many issues myself. I think our listeners know and understand it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
So tell me all about this. What's her name again?
AnnMarie
AnnMarie
Cusano.
Cusano.
Her maiden name is Peters.
Okay.
So everybody's heard of Kiss, just like they've heard of Ozzy, right? Like even
I
if
hope so.
yeah, like even if you don't like that kind of music, you still know who that is. So during like the 80s, I think it was, there was a guitarist in the group. His name was Vinnie Vincent, and his name before Vincent was, I think like he had it legally changed, but his name was Vincent Cusano. So AnnMarie is the ex-wife of Vinnie Vincent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were already divorced when this happened. They have twin daughters together, 15 years old. And for some reason, the daughters were not living with the mother. They were living with other family members. So I'm not for sure why, but just want to kind of put that out there. AnnMarie was like, she was like early 40s, like 42, 43. And what sucks is like her birthday was January 7th and then she died January 3rd. I think that sucks.
That does suck. It's so young.
AnnMarie, yes, like our age.
Right.
Well, more my age.
Our age.
So AnnMarie was reported missing. This was in Connecticut, like the Hartford area. She was reported missing on January 3rd, 1998. And this was after she did not pick up her daughters to take them to get their new glasses. Family said that she talked to her daughters. Did I mention that they were twins?
Yeah.
Okay. She talked to her daughters at least 3 times a day. She was not for sure where it was that she worked, but she was like an executive secretary. And then she had another job at night. So I'm thinking that the girls were elsewhere just so that she can make ends meet.
That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like she was getting back on her feet, maybe after the divorce or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the girls, they contacted their uncle because, they were really concerned. And the uncle went over to AnnMarie's home to check it out. This would have been on the 3rd. So AnnMarie went missing on the 2nd. And so this was the very next day. Now he saw that both inside and outside lights were on at the house. Neighbors said that this was not abnormal because the lights inside the house were seen to be on, different hours of the day and night. So that was normal. But what did not seem normal and what was weird was that AnnMarie's purse was left hanging inside the home. Like, I think they said it was left like hanging on a doorknob. And there was, I'm not clear if it was 2 glasses of wine or if it was just one, but it seems like it was 2 because there was indications and reports that she might have been entertaining a male guest that night. So all that was left. So, upon getting the police, or I'm sorry, the phone records and things like that, the police discover that around 10 o'clock, AnnMarie had received a phone call. And, oh, sorry, I exited out. Hold. Shit, you're going to have to edit this shit. Or screw it, leave it in. I accidentally exited out of my story. That's what's going on.
This is not abnormal.
No, it's not. Nayoka, why aren't you singing a song during these times?
I'm sorry.
It's an awkward, quiet silence.
No,
don't do that one.
Oh, yeah. That's anxiety ridden.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so the uncle said that, it just looked like the scene that there was intentions of AnnMarie coming right back. So anyways, like I said, she received a call around 10 o'clock that night, which again was on January 2nd. Now, this is where people might get a little bit like, AnnMarie worked part-time through an escort service. Now, what kind of escort service? I don't know. I don't know if it was just like sex or if it was just going out to a nice restaurant. I don't know. And it doesn't matter because, she was murdered.
Yeah. So each their own.
Mm-hmm. So anyhow, she receives this call from her boss, and the boss is like, I don't think you should go. And she's like, no, I'm going to accept the appointment. I'm going to call this person and I'm going to go. So Gregory MacArthur, he puts this call in, requests an escort, and AnnMarie calls him, sets up an appointment. She arrives around his apartment around 11 o'clock that night. Now, shortly after arriving at his apartment, she calls her boss from Gregory's home phone, and she's like, I'm not keeping my appointment. I'm going home. And that was the last time that AnnMarie was heard from or that she was seen. So police, they searched for 2 years, all over the place, woods. They searched ponds. They combed through the whole area because part of this area is there's secluded areas. And from the beginning, Gregory was a suspect, but there wasn't really any evidence to tie him. I don't know, the shit was weird. The only thing that they found connected to her was her car. The car was found about a week later after she was reported missing. So, the police, what's weird too is that they're looking for Gregory, but they can't locate him. And ultimately they do. And so kind of go back a little bit to the night that the murder happened. Around 2 a.m. on January 2nd and January 3rd, Gregory was found in 2 different locations. And the reason why I say 2 different locations is because there was 2 different witnesses that came forward and later testified that they saw Gregory the night of the 2nd into the 3rd. And Gregory had cuts on that appeared to be stab wounds. They were on his back and on his leg. And he had blood all over his hands and all over his shirt. The first person that he came upon, or this person came upon Gregory, was Victor Alvarado. Victor was taking his dogs out and he found Gregory on his back porch. And so he offered assistance to him. He helped clean him up. He gave him some alcohol and peroxide to clean the blood off his hands and to clean his wounds and things. And offered to call an ambulance, but Gregory said no because it would attract the attention of the police. So Victor just gave him a ride home. Now there's other reports where it was said that Gregory was just out walking and that these people just gave him a ride home. So I'm not quite sure what is the case, but somebody gave Gregory a ride home. Another person, which happened to be Gregory's cousin, said that Gregory showed up at his back door that same night with the same story, and that story was that Gregory was jumped and stabbed. About a week later, Victor, he calls the police because he sees Gregory's picture on TV. And, like, this guy is in connection with the disappearance of AnnMarie, like, please call police. So Victor calls police and gives his account of, his interactions with him. Music, please.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
So the night that she went over there for her service to him was the night that she disappeared?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm wondering, like, the scene at her house with her purse still there and the wine glasses.
Yeah, and we're
trying to connect that with that. Okay, so you're going to get into that. All right.
Yeah, well, not so much. We're going to take the scene from her house.
Okay.
To Gregory's apartment. So, Gregory was ultimately located. He did have ties to Connecticut because he had an ex-wife and like 3 kids. He had been serving a 15-year term in Massachusetts. Now, I'm guessing that like when he left Connecticut, because I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself here, but like, so in August of 2000, so the murder happened in 98 and a warrant was issued in February of 1999. Okay. And then Gregory returned to Connecticut in 2000. So once Gregory gets back to Connecticut, he has a 17-hour interview with Detective Timothy Shaw. And during this interview, he waives his constitutional rights 4 times. He eats fast food and he gives this confession. So this is what he says happened. So he says that, remember how, he requested her service and she came over and she calls her boss and she says, I'm not keeping the appointment and I'm leaving.
Right.
So, okay. So Gregory gives 2 different stories. Okay. Now he says that AnnMarie was killed by drug dealers who were after him for an old debt. Supposedly, Gregory and AnnMarie leave the apartment to go look for drugs, and these attackers jump them. They stab Gregory, they kill her, and dump their bodies in this secluded area. And Gregory cannot identify these men. So as the interview is going on, he tells this other story. So AnnMarie shows up at his apartment, which was at this boarding house. And AnnMarie says to him, I'm used to wealthy clients and I don't feel comfortable to stay here because supposedly, the apartment's small and all these things. So she refuses his money. The 2 of them, they get into an argument and ultimately a struggle begins. And the struggle lasts for about 5 to 10 minutes. He has her in a headlock. And when he lets go of her, she collapses to the floor and she's not breathing. So he doesn't know what to do. He sits down in a chair and he's panicking. He takes a hit off of some crack cocaine. And then he decides to get her car. He carries her down I guess like her car was like parked around the back of the building or something, because it says that like he went out to get her car and drove it around, or I'm sorry, opposite. It was in the front. He drove it around back so no one could see. So he drives her car up to the building where he can carry her body down to the car, puts her body in the trunk, and drives her to this secluded area and dumps her body, which is like the same secluded area where supposedly these attackers attack them. And during this interview, he voluntarily tells police where her body is. So after he dumps her body, he takes her car, which is this red Mazda. He takes it to an associate and says, hey, this is my white girlfriend's car and I can rent it to you for $30. And like he trades it for, I think, more cocaine. Then he supposedly flees the state, and that's when he goes to Massachusetts. And the guy that rented this car, like a couple weeks later, he sees on the news that Gregory is wanted in connection with this red Mazda and that it's this girl's. And so this dude, he abandons the car. And of course, he does not call police. I mean, why would he?
Right.
He could get in trouble, you know? So, that's what Gregory says happens. He takes $30, which the $30, you know, is the why 30. I guess that's all she had in her pocket or whatever. And this is what's confusing too, because he also takes a bank card from her purse and an American Express that was Vinnie Vincent's, like it has Vinnie Vincent's name on it. But what's confusing about that is that I thought her purse was hanging on the doorknob at home.
That is confusing.
So what the hell? And like if she was just going right out, like why, unless she had to be like, when I get a call, I gotta go. Like, why would she be coming right back if she knows that she's going to go to a job, to a service?
Yeah, I have so many questions.
Mm-hmm. So I guess they catch him on tape or whatever, Gregory, where he attempts to withdraw money from an ATM, because for those of you that don't know, like back in the day, a bank card was not like a bank card now. It was like an ATM card, like where it was only meant for withdrawing money out of an ATM. I don't even, well, actually, did they even have cameras on all the ATMs back then? Do you know?
They probably didn't. I don't know though. I don't know for sure.
Huh. And what's weird too is that like, so the evidence, we're going to talk a little bit about the evidence. So supposedly there was a bite on Gregory's hand. Supposedly like AnnMarie bit him during this attack. But like when they talk, it's very vague in court, but like when they talk about the evidence and stuff, like what happened to that bite? You know what I mean? Like what about that bite? Like, there was no forensic evidence found in his apartment. But then again, like there's another report where supposedly family members went in and cleaned his apartment because there was blood all over the mattress and all over the headboard. And of course his bloody shirt. And they said that like there was blood that was like his blood, Gregory's blood, and a second person's blood was mixed like on that back porch of Victor's house. They said it was like, you know how like you hear in reports all the time when someone is stabbing someone and the knife gets slippery and they cut themselves. So the blood from the attacker and the blood from the victim are mixed together.
Yeah.
It was like that. But there was like no other evidence. Like something about this doesn't feel right. Like at first when I started reading this, I was like, is this a chorus confession? But then he leads the police and stuff to where the body's found. So it's like, was his first story, was it true? I don't know.
Usually they take little truths from each confession. I don't know.
Yeah. So like, and so it was like 7 days for the verdict. It was a 5-week trial. He was ultimately arrested in September 2000. And then like, so the trial was, or I'm sorry, he was arrested in September. He was convicted in December. That just doesn't seem like it's very much time, does it?
No.
I mean, the murder took place in 1998.
So he confesses to doing it, I guess?
Yeah, he confesses. And like I said, he leads them to where the body was. And what's crazy too is like during the trial, so they're I think they have like the lead investigator, like their test, like he's given his testimony, and one of the questions is, they're saying like they have this big screen up, right, and it's the map of the area like where AnnMarie was found, and when they found her, it was her skull, it was skeletal remains, and the detective was pointing to where the skull was found, and they said that Gregory was just sobbing, like uncontrollably sobbing. So then I'm like, well, maybe it was just like he was on drugs and he just lost it and he didn't mean to do it. I mean, so the jury, they convicted him of manslaughter and felony murder, acquitted him of capital murder. And in this state at the time, that capital murder carried the death penalty, which I don't know if it still does, but the prosecutor did not seek the death penalty in this case. So that tells me that either it was like not full evidence brought to the table, or it was just a freak shit not accident, but like I don't know, like what do you think?
I'm still stuck on the purse being at her house with the wine. Like, did
I
they go
know.
over the evidence at her house?
Right.
It just almost sounds like, one, he asked for her. He requested her. And her boss
Well,
tells her not to take the job. Why? And
well,
then she goes there. She had to have been there because she called from his home phone. But we know that we don't leave our house without our purse, not even for a minute. So did this happen? And did he like put all this stuff back in her apartment or her house or whatever? Like, I don't know. I just want to know, like,
that's a good point. But I don't think he personally said her name. But
oh, okay.
what's weird though too is that I also saw like the boss of AnnMarie. There
Hmm.
was another girl that was murdered, and I didn't really look too much into the story. It was like a different area, but that's two girls that work for you that have been murdered. Like something's weird and fishy.
Maybe that's why he told her maybe not to take the job. Maybe he felt something was like
Maybe.
wrong, or maybe he was on high alert or something.
Could be.
I
But
don't know.
this guy, Gregory, he got 60 years in prison. This one's just a puzzler because
If she bit him, that's a self-defense wound.
mhm.
But how did he get stabbed in the back?
Right. I mean, did she carry a knife with her?
I mean, I would if I was in that job, probably, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
But we're also talking about in the late 80s where a lot of women weren't really taught to defend themselves in that way. So
Yeah, this one is definitely puzzling.
it's I shouldn't say great, but it's another conversation starter. I like finding these cases that are like, what? And then you turn the corner and you're like, no, hold on. Like
Yeah, you're good at that.
it's just really
I need to
aggravating
know.
because the state attorney, he said it was a simple whodunit. Like telephone records show that the last date was, former AnnMarie was Gregory. So like he wanted sex, she rejected him, and he got mad and he killed her, which is plausible.
It's very possible, especially if he's on drugs and stuff.
And then the whole like he didn't mean to do it. I
Hmm.
don't know. But then his defense attorney had a different scenario. Like, hold on, I wrote that down. Where is that? Like the small cuts, like that's just weird. Like on his back and on his legs. like on his legs.
did they determine her death, like her cause of death?
No, they
Hmm.
just basically went by like his confession.
That's the problem.
Hmm. And I mean, I don't want to speak ill of like if I'm not, he was convicted of it, but I don't know. There's just so many questions and like it's an older case, so of course, like research is by newspapers and newspapers can get it wrong. But I too, like I just have so many more questions. There's so many holes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So
Yep.
many holes.
So many holes. We need more answers.
And seriously, the fact that he cried, that
Which
tells
would
me he
make
definitely
sense.
has remorse.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done it in a drug induced state, and now that he's sober, he's like he has
Yeah.
remorse for it.
But another thing too is that he did have like prior sexual assault charges. So that's another thing that it's like, well,
He has that history.
yeah, and like that was for he served like 6 years for violating his parole. But like what were the term, what was the whole story to that sexual assault? Like what happened? It's said too that like he raped a 37-year-old woman, so
Yeah, it just doesn't look good for him. So,
no.
but he was sentenced to a long time.
Yeah, he had to finish out that 15 years that he was serving in Massachusetts. And then after that, he had to start serving the 60 years for AnnMarie.
I'm just glad that he told them right away where the body was because a lot of them don't. And then families don't have that closure. So
Yeah,
at least he did that.
yeah. And you know what's really sad too is that in one of the articles that I read, it said that after the verdict and the sentencing, that Gregory's mother and AnnMarie's mother, they came up to each other in the hall,
Mhm.
and AnnMarie's mother grabbed Gregory's mother's hand and kissed her on the cheek and was like, we're bonded for life.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, I hope her daughters were okay after. That's sad.
Yeah, 15-year-old twins.
And we are keeping up kind of like with the celebrity kind of theme. And again, we're running late on our Patreon. Again, we're gonna be better about this. It's just like, I don't know, we blink and the month is done. That's the problem.
Well, and I went on vacation and we've just been so busy.
It's been busy. It's life. Unfortunately, we don't do this full time. We do other stuff full time. But um I was thinking about this, while she was on vacation and whatever, but I'm going to cover Dave Navarro's, um, his mother's murder on our Patreon. So if you're interested in listening to that, it's a good reason to sign up for our Patreon. Sometimes we're late putting those episodes out, but we do it. We do it right
We
away
do
when
it.
we
Yeah.
realize. So yeah, you can always join that for as little as $3 a month if you wanted to, and you get an extra bonus episode every month. And that's the only way you're going to hear the Dave Navarro one is on
We
that.
did. Remember when we sent him a message and we
Oh my
didn't think
God, I begged him, like, please. He probably didn't even read it, but I tried, guys. I did.
it's like Naoka always says, the worst they can say is no.
Or nothing. And it doesn't change anything.
Right. Don't know till you try. And the cult series is still coming.
Yeah, we got some cool guests coming in the near future. I
Yes.
don't want to say it until it's happened, but yeah, we're like super excited about this stuff. We got some cool stuff coming on. Yeah. Dave Navarro's
Yo.
mother. if you want to hear it, it'll be out in the next week. I'll have it out next week for Patreon, and I'll definitely put it on Facebook and all that stuff to let you know when it's up. But if you want to hear it, you know how.
And Nayoka's going to do a special rendition of Jane Says.
You want me to? I love that song. Seriously. That that song is classic.
It is.
And if you don't know it, I'm sad for you. And you should definitely look into that song because it's great. And if you don't know who Kiss and all this stuff is, that's sad too. Like, where have you been? Under a rock? Who are your parents? I don't know.
You got to know.
If you know, you know. But anyways, that's all we got for you, I think, unless if you have anything else.
No, just always thank you for listening to the catastrophe.
I love it. And I'm going to even keep all that pausing and you trying to find your notes again in this episode for everyone to hear.
Yep, it is it's a thing. And cussing in the first 2 minutes.
I love it. Now, remember, if you can't join our Patreon, that's totally fine. If you can just like rate us and wherever you listen or share our episodes with your friends or anything like that, it's always very helpful. We appreciate it very much.
Or just come talk to us on Facebook.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
We love it.
Leave some comments. Don't come over there being rude though, because we'll kick you out.
That's right. We don't need no negativity. No room for that. All right, guys. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.